got the tea today, y'all. I'm not a celebrity gossip person, but I kind of wanted to talk about this one. This girl a mess, y'all. Hi guys, welcome to my channel if you're new, and welcome back if you've been around here a while. I'm Kendra. This is Kendra Creates. This is where I talk about my life. I'll talk about other stuff as well. Today is going to be one of those days where I talk about the other stuff. So make sure you are subscribed to my channel and also like this video so you can get more content like it. Okay, so I was shocked. I was shook it to the core when I heard this, y'all. But what I heard was, and oh my God, Jada Pinkett Smith did this interview because she has this new book, memoir, or whatever coming out. And her husband, Will Smith, have been living separately since the year 2016. That is wild, y'all. That is crazy. And I think the craziest part about all of this was the fact that, I'm not sure how long ago it was. I feel like it's been a while now. Maybe it was like a year or two ago that the word came out about that she had a relationship or situationship with August Alsina, which is like a R&B singer or whatever. Quote unquote family friend. I don't know. And I feel like it would have been so much easier for her to just come out and say that we're separated instead of making it seem like she was the infidelity cheater or whatever. I don't know. I'm not in her shoes. I don't live in her life. So I don't know about that. But that just seems really weird to me. To the point where I'd rather be known as a cheater versus someone who is separated or living separately. But the reason why I wanted to talk about this, of course, is because I am separated from my husband and we are getting a divorce. And it kind of resonated with me because when you feel like, you're just tired of trying, can't take it anymore, whatever the case may be, it's kind of hard to make that transition. And she stated that we live separate lives, but we aren't divorcing. And I was like, huh? It took me a little while to process that. It took me a while to process that. I totally understand about the fact that she didn't want to come out and talk about it or whatever. Talk about the fact that they are separating or separated, whatever. I don't know. I don't know how to define it. Because it takes a lot to admit that, right? It takes a lot to admit that your marriage didn't work or whatever when you are a celebrity and you live in the public eye. It really shocked me, that they would choose to remain together, not get a divorce. And so I was thinking to myself, why would someone do that? So, me and my analytical brain, actually came up with some reasons why people choose to stay married instead of getting a divorce. And I'm going to talk about those. Now, some of them will apply to their marriage, but some of them won't. And so I'm just going to kind of talk about it or whatever and talk about throw my experience in there too or whatever. But I think one of the first things that popped in my mind, something that I could wholeheartedly resonate with, is people don't want to get a divorce because they don't want to admit to failure. They don't want to admit to the world that they are a failure, that their marriage failed, that their relationship failed. For every fight that someone's seen or every argument that someone's seen or every red flag that, they talk to their friends about or they talk to their parents about or whoever about, they don't want to admit that it's over, it's done, they failed, you made a wrong decision. Aha, we told you so, People don't want to admit that. And I think what people have to realize is that a divorce or a breakup or whatever, I don't see it as a sign of failure. Personally, my separation has been freedom. Freedom, not failure. And you may oh, that's how marriage is? No, that's not how marriage is. I've had the freedom to explore myself individually and not tied to someone else. Because when I moved here to get married. So now it's I'm navigating the world as a single person in a new city. So it's like I'm living a totally different life. Not that I didn't want to be married and live a married life, because I'd much rather that, honestly, than, being a single person and having that single struggle. But sometimes, though, people would rather be single than be in a marriage that does not work for them in their situation. So I think a lot of times people don't want to admit that they failed, and that is the reason why they choose to stay married instead of getting a divorce. Another reason that I feel like people stay married versus getting a divorce is for the kids. And this is something that I greatly struggled with because my child is so little, and I always wanted him to have like a close family unit, with parents that cared about each other, that loved each other, that showed kindness and respect to one another, and was a good example. And I don't feel like my child could have gotten that good example if I remained married to his father. And so that's one of the reasons why I decided to go ahead and separate, because I don't think that I would have been a good role model for him in that marriage. A lot of people think that if they stay married for the kids, it's gonna show their kids something, like not split the family up or whatever. And I know they say like divorce is hard on kids. My parents did not divorce. My parents have been married for, oh my goodness, over 43 years. And the length of a marriage does not determine the quality of it. And if you have parents that argue back and forth, that don't show respect to one another, that aren't actively showing love to one another and being a great role model for what a healthy marriage is, that's going to affect your child more than divorce. That's how I personally feel. Maybe I'm wrong. I would love to hear the kids of divorce in the comments, because my experience is going to be a little bit different. And Jada and Will kids are grown adults. Like, there's no reason for them to remain married for the kids. I just knew that I wanted to be a better role model and a better example for my son. That comes from a good and healthy relationship. And then it also comes from me being as happy as I can be, And I don't want to show him that you have to suffer and you have to struggle and all of that. He's just a little kid. He needs to be happy. He needs to run around. He needs to play. He needs to have like little to no responsibilities, So I just want to give him a life that I did not have. And within that, the best decision for myself was to not be together anymore. A lot of people don't want to get divorced because they fear something. And sometimes facing those fears, you just have to do it head on. Because I don't know if you guys ever heard of the term, like, I'd rather go with the devil I know versus the devil I don't know. You're in a world of unknown once you separate and you get out there as a single person. You live separately if you're raising children or whatever. But would you rather a new, different experience, or would you rather continue to like bump your head against the brick wall with the experience that you're getting now? And there are so many things to be fearful of. There is a fear of being single, alone, by yourself. There is a fear of, how my children are going to grow up and react and respond to this situation. There is a fear of emotionally being torn to shreds by your partner. Maybe they did something bad to you. Maybe they're moving on with someone else. Like, it's so many emotional things that you go through, And there is also a fear of, what other people are going to say or what other people are going to do. There are so many things that you can be fearful of if you decide to divorce. But it's like either you're going to go with the devil or you're going to go with the devil you don't know. And sometimes I think that fear of, well, there's nobody else better out there. Sometimes you just got to be by yourself and you just got to appreciate yourself and what you can do with yourself. Because sometimes like your self-worth and your happiness and all of that stuff, it's not found in your husband or a mate or a partner or another person. And then also I think like a lot of people are just scared to just be by themselves, maybe because they've never even been by themselves. Some people get married very young and they don't even know themselves. So they have to readjust to a world where they may have not ever been single, or they haven't been single in a really long time. And they are like up in arms because they literally don't know how to like function as an individual person. And that is scary. And so sometimes I have to look at like, you know, the celebrity couple in this case, like, do they know how to function as separate people? Because they've always been known like as this power couple. They have always been known as like relationship goals. Like they've always been known as like pillars of the community in Black Hollywood, and just like a total status symbol, especially for Black people and Black love. And it's just like if they divorce, then that's the finality. Like that's the end. Like it could be a stain on their legacy. So people are scared to get divorced. And honestly, like, to me, if you get a divorce, like, it's not even a sign of like weakness, and it's not even a sign of like giving up. It's honestly a sign of strength, because a lot of times it takes more power to leave a marriage versus stay in one that really isn't working. People are scared and don't want to get divorced because of social stigma. A lot of people are scared to lose their friend groups, or to alienate themselves from the family, or to lose like mutual friends or relationships, or maybe look down in their community, like if they hold a high position, or, you know, everybody was like rooting for their marriage and rooting for them to like make it. And, you know, a lot of people like look up to certain people for, you know, relationship goals or even relationship advice. And they're just scared and worried about the social stigma of divorce. And I would say, especially for women and women with children versus men. I'm a woman, so I can't speak for the guys and the fellas of what social stigmas that are out there for them. But I can tell you that once a woman is separated or divorced, especially when she has children, it has been drilled into our heads that our value is gone down. It's going to be hard for us to find a mate or to remarry or to get someone else, even though that may not necessarily be our end goals after we've been married. You know what I'm saying? That's been drilled into our heads. I mean, how many times have we saw on the internet with people questioning whether they should get with a single mom or divorcee or whoever? Some people in cultures, it's hard for divorced women to find a mate. It's, you know, hard for a woman that has kids to find a mate, because a lot of people are hunting someone with no baggage. Flash alert, news alert, everybody has baggage, okay? If you don't have a kid, if you don't have an ex-spouse or whatever, you got baggage, okay? Especially my older folks that were raised by boomers. Yeah. The ones that taught us like not to show emotion, the ones that didn't go through therapy, the ones that stuck it out in horrible marriages for the kids. Yeah, we got some baggage, y'all. So I would challenge people to say, rather than thinking of what others are going to say, you should be thinking about what you are going to say to yourself every day that you wake up and you feel like you're living a lie. Or every day that you wake up and you feel like you don't really know the person that's laying next to you every day. Or every day that you wake up and you feel an unfulfilled life. A life that's not working. A life that you aren't living in complete satisfaction with. And sometimes a marriage can make you feel that way. And I think that people care a lot about their standing in society, which is fine. Everyone kind of like wants to fit in. Everybody kind of like, you know, wants to be seen as a good person, an upstanding citizen. But how much do you have to suffer to live that life? And the last thing that I want to talk about is people don't want to divorce because they don't want to divide their assets. And I think a lot of guys talk about this. Have you ever heard the term "it's cheaper to keep her"? Well, I guess maybe in some people's, you know, marriages it is. I don't know. I can tell you that I have been nothing but amicable with my husband. I mean, we're still married, so he's still my husband. We've had bumps along in the road, but for the most part, he has been gracious in regards to everything financial wise. And I know that a lot of people do not do that. Some men, especially men that were the sole breadwinners for the family, they use that as a weapon in the divorce. They want to leave the mother destitute with the kids, and it's just all a game. You know, the woman is mad maybe because he had an affair and now he's with his, mistress, and she wants to make him pay, and she wants to make him pay through the pockets. All of this, I can't relate. And in Will and Jada's case, like, they have a lot of money and a lot of assets. And like, how do you divide that up, right? Like, how do you divide that up? How do you, because a lot of people in marriages, they combine assets. They don't keep a running tally and a score of who made what and who did what. And I mean, some people do. Don't get me wrong. Some people do. Not the case in my marriage and not the case in a lot of marriages, but it was always about like, well, did I provide this, or did I pay this, or this is my money, and this, it's so much separation, and a lot of people don't do that. So how do you divide up the assets? How do you divide up the, who's getting how much money and what? And a lot of people don't want to even go through all that, especially if they are financially well off. Because that means that somebody's going to have to give up something. And then you're going to have to agree to giving up something. And if you do not agree, then that means that you're going to be paying lawyers to fight it out for you in the courts. And it could take a long time, and it could be very expensive to do that. And so a lot of people don't want to get divorced because of the money. And I think that people need to realize that marriage is not only, oh, we're so in love and happy and this and that. It is a contract, and it can be detrimental financially wise. And I know we're always talking about the men, but women need to know this too. Women need to know this too, especially if you have a woman with a career and assets and things going on. Before they jump into something, they need to realize that you could lose it all. You could have to start over from scratch. Or if you're a woman who didn't work in the marriage and your husband provided everything, if it does not work, what are you going to do when it's over with? If you haven't worked in a very long time, or you never really worked, or you didn't, once you were married, pursue an education or anything of that nature, what's going to happen when you get divorced? Say you make it through, but your partner passes away. Like, how are you gonna survive in this world? It's something to think about. It's really something to think about. Us old separated, divorced people, yeah, whatever. But you guys that are seeking marriage or seeking going into a marriage with someone, I would definitely think about the monetary situation and not just love and emotions and how this person makes you feel. So I think that was my thoughts about divorce and everything. I am interested to see how this all plays out with Will and Jada. They say they aren't getting divorced, and that's cool and all, I guess. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me, but I guess maybe they're still friends and everything, and their friendship means more to them than, I guess, maybe officially being with another partner. Because to me, that is a serious undertaking to me, to not get a divorce. And then I don't know if they still live together from like the clips that I saw. I don't know if they still live together or what. I don't know. But and I don't know like if they're still like intimate or physical or anything like that. That was not stated, or I didn't hear it. I don't know. But I feel like I have so many questions versus answers, like on how that whole situation is gonna continue to work. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. So make sure you leave them in the comments below, because, and maybe I'll be talking about this again, because this is now it's like my wheels are turning again, and I'm like, this is kind of weird. Like, how is this like realistically going to work going forward? I don't know. But I guess we'll see how it plays out, y'all. Y'all be cool out there, okay? Thank you so much for watching. I will see you on the next time. Make sure you continue to spread kindness in a world full of hate. Bye-bye.